Hey, David Judge here, and today I'm going to talk to you about work hours, holidays, and the best time for VAs to work. Not your work hours, I can't control those, but I'll definitely talk to you about VAs' work hours. Now, I'm going to share how we run our team and what works best for our clients and why it works best for us. Okay, now in today's conversation, I'm talking about the Philippines because this is where we source the majority of our people from and the best hours, etc., based on that location. So if I start first of all with the time difference, you can Google it, but I can let you know straight away, if you're in Australia, the difference in the Philippines is only 2 hours. For example, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time would translate to 7 a.m. Philippines time. Now this would obviously be different if you're in daylight savings or outside of the east coast of Australia. Yeah? Okay. And like I said, Google it. Google if you want to know more. Okay, now work hours and start times. Now this would usually be Monday to Friday, and the actual type of task that you actually have a person performing would generally dictate the start time that they would be coming into your business or coming online. Now, for example, if you had someone that you need to handle support emails and incoming calls, you want your team to start somewhere between 8:30 and 9 a.m. in the morning. Now, if your team weren't handling those sort of tasks, you may actually consider starting them a little bit later, let's say 11 a.m. So what would be the difference? How would you determine the difference between 11 and 9? Now, I'll tell you this in a story. When we first started arranging VAs for clients, we found that the first few hours of every day, the client was following up a series of different pending tasks from that morning or the afternoon before. Now, this would actually mean they wouldn't get the maximum yield from their VA for the first few hours because each time they would be sitting there doing work and they couldn't really communicate to them. And on the flip side, like I said, they ended up with a lot of tasks left over at the end of the day. So we actually tested what would happen if we were to shift the day to start at 11 a.m. And for a number of clients, this actually worked really well, allowing the client to finish a little bit earlier in the afternoon if they chose to, and to leave the VA to handle whatever tasks were left over at the end of the day. So in this scenario, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. works really well for that type of client. Now the main point here, is the start and finish times of VAs are really very, very flexible, and they are there as a support person within your business, and they understand their job is to do exactly that, support you. Now, what you need to do though is just think about which model would work best for you, and then you can go from there, especially when you first start off with your start times. Okay, public holidays. What public holidays are there in the Philippines, Dave? Well, there are approximately 19 public holidays every year declared within the Philippines, and the main days that people would normally like to take off are Easter Thursday, Good Friday, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and New Year's Day. Now, we've found most of the time all the team work on the other local declared Philippines holidays, and it's just a matter of arranging a person in advance and saying, hey, these are the hours that would be important to work, work to Australian days, business days. Now, if you think you would need a person to work through the major holidays like Good Friday and whatever else, make sure you position that at the very, very beginning and remain transparent in your business direction on what you want to do there. This is also the case with weekend work. If you know that you have a person that you want to work every Saturday or occasionally Saturday here and there, mention it at the very beginning and be aware that additional rates may apply here. Now, to summarize on this point, the flexible work and getting a person to start and communicate. If you know you're going to have a person that you want to work those different hours, make sure that you go through and you position it at the very, very beginning and mention it. It just prevents any confusion down the track when a person's like, no, I'm not going to do that, which is very rare because they're very adapting as well, like I find. Now, annual leave. Annual leave is another subject again. With many VAs, they do, like anybody, they like to take, your team would like to take a holiday. It could be a 2-week block. But what I find majority of the time is it's normally like 5 days. So from like Saturday through to the following Wednesday, and for them to return back to work the next Thursday. Now, one point to encourage your VA around annual leave is for them to book it in as far ahead as they can. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is I've had many a time in the early days where a VA has contacted me on a Friday afternoon to let me know that they're taking next week off. Now, nowadays, I have a method in place and my team book way in advance if they're taking the time off. So just like everybody needs a break, but make sure you're encouraging them from holidays perspective to let you know as far ahead as they can. Now, what do you do during this time? For our clients, we actually have a supervisor that oversees each team member, and they're able to step in and handle any critical tasks if required, and they're able to train another person up to perform the critical role if that's required as well. Okay, so that's about it. One last point I want to mention is to talk about the idea of fixed time and flexi. Now, I actually prefer fixed times as opposed to flexi. Flexi meaning you can start and finish the number of hours and work the number of hours as long as you do them all throughout the week. Because I know that a person will be there to handle the task if I have them on a fixed start and finish time. I know they'll be there if I need them to grab onto them to do the task. And the other thing is that I just don't like the flexible time structure. Because I'll tell you why. The other main reason is I've found people work best under a structure. Of the 300 people that I've outsourced to and employed over a period of time, they've always worked best under a structure. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Let's wrap up. And that was a lot of really valuable insights and information that's generally not spoken about within our industry. So I hope it gives you an insight and helps you understand the intricacies of some of the areas, like if they were to take time off, start times, all those things that can really help you gain that maximum yield in your business. Okay, so in the next session, we're going to discuss how and when you should upskill a VA. Now, this is going to be a really great subject, as there are a few methods of crowd upskilling that we actually use that we're going to cover. Now, if you have a question that you would like me to answer, make sure you get in contact with me, and I'd love to hear from you. As always, this is David Judge, talking outsourcing and showing businesses how to work smarter.